California landlords getting a bailout. Hey everybody, my name is JJ. You're watching Bolt Boom Bear Bust. It's Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. Now, a lot of people are talking about this being a bailout. Rent forgiveness program would pay landlords all of what they are owed while simultaneously giving tenants a clean slate. So let's talk about the ins and outs of this. Is it fair? And of course, the question we always have to ask, who is going to pay for it? This is a pretty big article here, big news item. They're even talking about it in the UK. This is out of The Guardian. California has a $5.2 billion plan to pay off unpaid rent accrued during the pandemic. Now, first of all, if you're someone that did pay your rent, you worked hard, maybe you worked 2 jobs or more to make sure that you kept up on your rent. This has got to sting a little bit. I mean, it's good to see people get assistance that need assistance. But honestly, I mean, if you're someone that worked and paid your rent and you didn't just sit there and choose not to work like so many people are doing right now, it's got to sting a little bit. I mean, again, one person's pleasure is another person's pain, in some cases, and this may be one of the situations, right? But this has been true for a very, very long time. And historically, we look back and we see, people that choose to work versus someone else that chooses not to work. Now, yes, there are people that cannot work, disabled people, mentally ill people, but especially in the United States, a lot of people choose to be mentally ill. A lot of people choose to be addicted to this and that and become an alcoholic. But we've got the homeless epidemic here in California. But yes, it's usually very controversial when you look at these types of programs, but these types of things have been happening for a long time. Now, this takes it to another level. The way our quote unquote leader out here in California put it is that, quote, California is planning rent forgiveness on a scale never seen before in the United States. Now, a lot of this money is going to go to corporate landlords. We're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. So, this is another corporate bailout. Yes, there are a lot of small mom and pop landlords that are going to get some help on this. But in California, it's a big, big percent of rentals that are owned by corporations. Now, first of all, who decides who gets forgiven on the rent? Who decides who doesn't get forgiven, right? So there's always going to be people scratching for the piece of the pie. And we saw this with all these other programs that were supposed to help people. We saw people get assistance that really should not have gotten the assistance. Remember the PPP loan programs, all of the mega churches, and people that were already multimillionaires getting the PPP loans. The unemployment assistance, remember in some cases even prisoners were qualifying for unemployment. People ended up getting unemployment for their dead relatives in some cases, and on and on and on. So when you see money handed out like this on such a large scale, there's always a lot of looting, always a lot of people essentially lying and cheating and stealing to try to get paid. Now, the real solution would be allow the free market to operate. Then rents would fall, home prices would fall, the prices of everything would come down, the cost of living would come down, and you wouldn't need rent forgiveness in that case. Now, let's try to look at this from all sides. If you're someone that needed help paying your rent, hooray for you. But is this going to help you in the future? Or is this just going to be, again, a bailout for the landlord? So just because your past due rent or back rent is forgiven or paid doesn't mean that it's going to help you in the future. And also think about this. If landlords know that they're just going to get paid back for any back due rent, why wouldn't they not just raise rent? So if they know they're going to get paid no matter what, even if their tenant loses their job or can't pay or chooses not to pay, if they know they're going to get paid, why not just raise the rent? Why not just double the rent and triple the rent? If it's just going to get paid out from the big pile of bailout money or what they passed under the relief program, why not just raise the rent? You see what this is? This is another moral hazard like we see in so many parts of the financial system. The other many examples we use, but one of the other ones is student loan debt. For colleges are going to have their loans backed by the money printers, why would they ever stop raising the tuition rates, right? If people can borrow money no matter what the cost is of college in the name of quote unquote getting an education, then there's no reason to ever lower the price or stop increasing the cost of college tuition. Same thing here with rent. So it's a backwards system, in my opinion. It's only going to make things worse. But again, there are some people out there that are really happy about this. If you're someone that couldn't pay your rent, and there are some people that really tried and they just couldn't do it, they lost their job. And, hooray, hooray for those people. But again, is this going to help you in the future? Or is this just going to make your landlord, and in many cases a corporation, better off? And then you're still stuck in the same boat. You still have the same high rent that you couldn't afford before. And now your job options for well-paying jobs are not that good. There's a lot of low-paying jobs out there, a lot of openings for those in this service sector economy that we have here in the United States. But let's talk about this right here. This is out of Housing is a Human Right. We see this picture of a corporate landlord here smoking a cigar, a lot of money on the table here, having a nice drink there. And Los Angeles, when you look at it, about 43% of the rentals are owned by corporations. Now, it doesn't mean that they're all mega corporations. There could be some small mom and pop landlords that started an LLC. But you could see 43%, pretty good chunk of these rentals in Los Angeles anyways, are owned by corporations, and it's likely pretty similar throughout the state of California. So about 40%, more than 40% of these funds getting handed out are going to help corporate landlords. Is it fair? Is it not fair? What are the alternatives? You let me know. And again, some people are happy about this. If you're a landlord, hooray for you. If you're a tenant, hooray for you. If you worked really hard to keep your rent paid, I know it's got to sting a little bit. Well, let's talk about some of the ins and outs of this here. It's supposed to, and I want to highlight supposed to, it never usually ends up being the way it's supposed to be, but it's supposed to be for low-income tenants that were impacted by the pandemic. And from this article, lawmakers in California are working on finalizing a legislation that would pay 100% overdue rent for eligible tenants who took a financial hit during the shutdown. So the goal here is 100%. It hasn't been finalized yet, but this is what is being looked at and what's being fought for. And here's who will qualify as of now. These are the provisions that are being proposed. Tenants who earn less than 80% of the area median income, known as the AMI, in their area and have faced a pandemic-related financial hardship are eligible to apply for assistance from the state program. And guess what? There's going to be a lot of people lying on their forms when they try to apply for this, when they try to qualify for this. Just like we saw in all these other areas, people are desperate, and people are going to, in many cases, not tell the truth. And you're probably going to see hundreds, if not millions of dollars, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars. This is a multi-billion-dollar package given out to people who really shouldn't be getting it. That's the sad truth, everybody. Another dose of economic reality. You let me know. California Landlord Bailout. Good, bad, ugly. You let me know. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Stay well, stay safe, stay prepared, keep stacking, because this is not going to fix any underlying problems. This is going to make the cost of living go even higher. And if you are a property owner, please let me know. I'd like to hear from you. If you know that you're going to get bailed out by the state, let's say you are in California, what's to stop you from just raising the rent if you know you're going to get paid all the back due rent anyway, regardless if the tenant can afford to pay? What's to stop you from raising the rent? You let me know. Thanks, everybody. Keep stacking. Stay well, stay safe. Bye for now, please.